Hello, youth. I hope you are having a good Sunday so far, and it has been so good to see so many of you at our youth chat on Fridays. So, for any of you who haven't been yet, we are meeting on Zoom. So, if you haven't been and you want to get the meeting ID and password, please get in touch with me. But basically, what we're doing is we're watching the videos on Sunday. And then on the Friday, we are chatting through as a group, and it'll be really good for you to see loads of your mates kind of as normal and kind of very differently online. But please come and join us. Even if you come and join us and put yourselves on mute and you don't say anything, but just listen and be as part of it, then that would be amazing. So today we have got a video from Youth for Christ, and it's about how we can live well during this time. So have a watch of it. The lady's got loads of interesting stuff to say, and then at the end there's some questions. And so next Friday we're going to chat about the video, we're going to go through the questions, and I'm hoping it'll be a really good time for you guys to engage and to really chat with each other and give hints and tips on how you're living this time well in Jesus. So God bless you guys. Hope to see you soon, and please get in touch if you want to chat about anything at all. See you soon.
You would have heard this phrase a lot recently. It's one that we haven't really heard before, and that's self-isolation. It basically means that we need to avoid contact with people and avoid going to the places that we might normally go to so that we can stop the spread of this virus. I don't know about you, but when I'm told that I can't do something or I can't go somewhere, I can feel really restricted, and that can make me feel all sorts of feelings. I can feel frustrated, angry, worried, fearful. Now imagine you're like a fizzy drink and you're feeling all of these feelings and they've got nowhere to go. What happens is that suddenly there can be an explosion. And so what can happen in our homes if we're feeling all of these different things and we don't know what to do with that? It can end in explosions, it can end in arguments, or just finding that we have really lost ourselves. God's desire for us is that we would actually, whatever circumstances we find ourselves in, live life to the full. Jesus said actually that he came so that we could have life and life in all its fullness. That's from John chapter 10, verse 10. God doesn't want us to lose ourselves. He wants us to live our best life. How can we do that when we find ourselves in a very frustrating and restricted place? Well, the Bible talks about the fact that we can find rhythms. Jesus says this to us. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Jesus doesn't want us to lose ourselves. He wants us to live a life that is full. So he says that there are rhythms that we can learn. Rhythms that can help us to be at our best and to be at our healthiest. And these rhythms are found all throughout the story in the Bible. I want to take you to a place in Leviticus. Leviticus is near the beginning of the Old Testament. And there's some instructions that God gives to his people. And he says this: when you enter the land that the Lord has given you, you shall honour the Lord by not cultivating the land every 7 years. You shall sow your fields, prune your vineyards, and gather your crops for 6 years. But the 7th year is to be a year of complete rest for the land, a year dedicated to the Lord. Do not sow your fields or prune your vineyards. Do not even harvest the corn that grows by itself without being sown, and do not gather the grapes from your unpruned vines. It is a year of complete rest for the land. God gives his people some instructions, and he says that they are to work the land for 6 years. And then on the 7th year, they need to rest. They need to rest and not work the land so that the land and the people can be at their healthiest and their best. There's a rhythm in this instruction. There's a rhythm in many stories in the Bible where God says we need to prepare, we need to work, and we need to rest. Prepare, work, and rest. Let me give you another example. Let me give you another example. I don't know if you're into any sports, but imagine a footballer. Imagine they want to play football. Well, they could grab their football shoes, their trainers, they could grab a ball, and they could go out the house and they could start playing football. And they could do that every day. But would they get any better? If they want to get better, they need to prepare themselves. So they need to train. They need to join a team, and they need to have a training plan that is going to get them to develop the right skills and practice the right things so that they can play in a match. And then they play in the match. But if they keep training and playing in a match and training and playing in a match, and they don't have any time off, then something will start to happen to them. They will start to feel worn out and tired. They will start to get injured and they might end up on the bench. So for a football player to be at their absolute best, to play their absolute best in a game, in a match, they need to do some training. They need to get to play in a match, and they need to do some resting. And that is the same in our lives. If we want to be at our healthiest and our best, we need to do some training, we need to do some working, and we need to do some resting. So I wonder, as we are venturing into this new bit in our lives where we are self-isolating, how are you looking after yourselves? How are you introducing those rhythms of training and working and resting? So in the training, it might be that you decide to do some exercise. It might be that you decide to learn some new skills that you wouldn't have normally learned at school. In the working, it might be that you need to suss out how best to find time to do your work and the best space to do that in. And are you finding time each day to do some resting, where you get to chill out, where you get to do the things that give you energy? So we've got some questions for you that we would love you to discuss. So maybe you want to discuss them with people in your house. Maybe you want to just think about them by yourself, or maybe you want to connect with your youth leader if you go to a youth group, or a church leader if you go to a church. And we'd love you to look at these questions and just to think about how can you cultivate a really good rhythm in your life in this time at home so that you can be at your healthiest and your best. Because remember, God's desire for us is not to be cooped up, is not to feel frustrated and angry, but is to live life to the fullest.